Good evening everyone. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this hat tonight, but it's part of a thing I'm doing for ABC Networks with dressing up as the Blues Brothers. And I also like to have fun and a laugh and a joke all the time. But tonight I'm going to give you some insight on how servers work. I'm going to give you a few of my tips and a few of my ideas, which I do share once in a while. And this is going to be a useful video of how to set up a small server for a small business. So enjoy it tonight, and we'll probably have a bit of fun as well, as we always do. And hats off to anyone who gets this right.
This is the server that I recommend to most of my clients. It's an ML350 G5. They're on the G7 or G8 range now, but these G5s can be picked up for quite little money and are very strong workhorses. They come with 8 SATA bays for expansion hard drives, 2 PSU ports, and can take 2 processors as well as up to 128 gig of RAM, which is very, very vast. And the operating system we're going to install on this big boy is Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise. I know it's a slightly older operating system, but it's a good operating system to learn for your first Windows Server operating system. So I'm going to go to the front of the server and show you how it looks at the front angle, and show you where, if I open the side up on it, that where all the hard drives are at the bottom. Now this one has got 4x146 gig SAS drives. We're going to RAID these hard drives as RAID 5. So I'll explain more about RAID 5 as we go into this installation of Windows and how it would benefit your business. So that is it, really. For all you techno people out there, this is what the ML350 looks like inside. This one has got 2 positions for 2 processors, but it's running only one, and it has got a spare port for another fan, so when you're running 2 processors it's worth having the second fan fitted. So this one is set up currently with 8 gig of RAM and 1 processor, which is a Xeon quad core 2 GHz. And it's got plenty of capacity. This is a software called HP Smart Start, and it comes with all servers. Which this does, it helps you set up the server more easier than normal. So it gives you all the tools to configure the hard drives, configure the BIOS, configure anything with the server. So we're going to let this load up. And then when we get into the main screen, I'll show you how to RAID the hard drive to the correct size using Start Smart software. It comes up with a list of instructions of what to do next. So you can either go ahead and install it, run a saved installation, maintenance, system arrays, or reboot. What we're going to go into is maintenance. This is where we can do the RAIDing of the hard drives. And it comes up with another screen now. Lights on configuration, the HP array configuration, diagnostics, create a bootable USB or USB punch out. Well, what we want to do is the second option, HP array configuration. So saying please wait, and then it comes up with welcome to ACU, the array configuration utility. This is what I love about ML350s. They've got a brilliant array card built into the motherboard. It gives you the option to configure the hard drive. So we set the option there. It says Smart Array E200i. That's the default one what's installed. And it's coming up here with what it's got at the moment. Assigned drives 1, SAS array A1 logical, drives. We want to basically start again, because at the moment it's not configured the way I want it configured. So we're going to click on clear configuration down there. Sorry about the mouse jumping around a bit, it's not the best mouse in the world. And it's saying, do you want to proceed? And we're going to click on OK. Clearing configuration. Now we've got a blank assigned drives. So we want to create a RAID 5 configuration with this. So we click on create an array. It gives us an option to, well, it shows that we've got 4 hard drives installed, all 146 gig in storage. And which I'm going to do is I'm going to select all 4 drives by clicking select all 4 drives. And click on OK. So it's creating an array now. So all 4 drives are one massive drive, what's 546 gig in storage. So basically I've created a RAID 5 configuration. As I was just explaining about earlier, what a RAID 5 configuration is if one hard drive fails in the RAID, you can hop swap the hard drive with another one, which will rebuild itself from the other 3 disks while they're available. Unfortunately, this doesn't give, with a RAID 5 configuration, you lose storage of 1 disk, so basically you're only using 3 disks instead of 4 in storage terms. But as I said, it's the best way of configuring the server, because if one hard drive fails, then the next one takes over control. So now we've configured it as a RAID 5, you see how easy that was to configure. Now the server has booted to the desktop. A screen now appears saying, now we've into the install screen for the server. As it says here, we've got 410 gigabytes available, and it's set up as RAID 5 on E200i controller card. So we're going to click on next. And it says here which operating system you're going to use. You can purchase Windows directly from HP themselves, which comes with a server. It saves a bit of money. Or you can use a retail media for the server. For this test purposes, we're going to select retail media. And it's giving me the options of what server edition we're going to install on this server. And we're going to choose Windows 2008 R2X64. And it's giving me an option of different models. And the one we're going to choose is Enterprise X64 edition. Once you've made your selection, click on next. And it's saying select where you want your operating system to be installed from. We'll say DVD-ROM. Click on next. And it's saying what size do you want your C drive to be. For this purpose, I want to have a reasonably small size C drive and a big size D drive to put all the data on. So what we're going to do, we're going to change it to custom, and we're going to change it to 120 gig, which is in a megabyte terms 122,880. So my C drive is going to be 120 gigabytes. And we click on next, and it's saying, what do you want to give this computer a name? We're going to call it test. We're not going to give it a password for right now, but if you did want to give it a password, it would be the password of the administrator account. And also the organisation name would be the company where it's installed at, and the owner's name could be Mr. Smith or the name or your name. But once you've got all, make sure the time zone's correct, because this could affect the clock settings when the server's booted with an operating system. So we're going to change it to our country, which is London. So we're going to click on next. Leave that as default, which says install SNMP. Click next. Keep this as default because we configure these settings when the server's booted up. Click next, and leave that as express. Click next. Then once you're all happy with all the data in the fields, click on next, and now the server's being prepared for installation. Once prepared, it will ask for the operating system disk, which is what we're going to install on here, is Windows 2008 R2 Enterprise. And once that is inserted, we will continue with the video, because that will be on a later video when I'll talk about the domain controller and installing programs like SQL and other programs. So basically, if we click on add roles, I'll show you what it comes up with. It comes up with add roles wizard, and then it comes up saying this wizard will install roles on your server. If you want to click on next, I'll show you what roles you can add, which ones are important. One's what I normally add. If it was going to be a domain controller, you put a tick next door to Active Directory domain services. If you wanted this server to be a DHCP server, like a web server, you put a tick next door to that one. If you want to make this server a virtual server, you put the tick next door to the Hyper-V server. If you want it to access the server remotely, you put a tick next door to remote desktop services. We're going to put a tick next door to that one because I want to maintain this server remotely. So anything like I'm working from home, I can access this server anywhere at any time through terminal services. So I'm going to put a tick next door to that. Click on next, and it's saying introduction to remote desktop services. Basically the same what it actually does. Basically remote services means that you can access the server remotely from any computer at any time. So click on next, and it's asked me what I want to install with it. Basically, for remote services to work, I need remote desktop licensing, because you need a license to connect to this server, and that's basically it. The other ones are optional, but you definitely need remote desktop licensing to be installed. So we click on next. You can put configure discovery scope for the license server. You don't really need to do that because we can activate that once it's installed. Click on next, and then click on install. That will install that role which is required for remote access to this server. You see it's installing it from the CD, what's in drive D. Still installing it. It won't take long now to install it, so if it's a bigger role like Active Directory, it will take a lot longer to install because there's a lot more functionality in there. Now it says here, 2 warnings, Windows updates were not enabled, we know that. Ensure the RD session host servers are correctly configured. Because it's not connected to the network at the moment, it's got a few warning signs. That would be rectified as soon as I plug this into a local area LAN. Also, I'm going to ignore those warnings for now and click on close. So you see, we've installed a few things to make this server work properly. The next thing I'm going to quickly show you before the end of this video is we're going to right click on the computer and go to manage. Remember, I partitioned these two hard drives. Yeah? So what I'm going to show you now is how to set up the second partition. So if we click on storage and then click on a disk management local, this is going to load up the RAID, what we configured. As you can see from there, we've got a hard drive that says 120 gig, local disk C. And next to it, we've got a hard drive that says 290 gig, unallocated. This is the drive we now want to make live. But before we do that, I'm not exactly happy that the CD drive is called drive D. I normally like the CD drive to be called drive E. So what I'll do, I'm going to change the drive letter on that and click on change drive letter and paths. I'm going to change this to drive E. Sorry about the mouse, it's a little bit temperamental. So click on drive E, click on OK. Some programs rely on drive letters, might not run properly, but we know it will because it's a CD drive. That's now changed to drive E. And now we're going to liven up this second unallocated partition. We'll right click on that, click on new simple volume. It says welcome to new simple volume wizard. Click on next. It says do you want to change the size? No, we want to keep it as 300 gigabyte. Click on next. Drive D, that's what I want to call it. So we click on next, but you can have it as any drive letter you want, F, G, H. Click on next. It says do you want to perform a quick format? As I know these hard drives have already been pre-formatted, I'm going to save that to as quick format, but if the hard drives haven't been formatted before, then I would take a tick out of that and then do a full format. Click on next and then click on finish. And you can see that hard drive now livening itself up, and it's formatting as we speak, and in a minute that would change to healthy live drive. This sometimes can take a couple of minutes depending on the size of the hard drive and depending on what kind of hard drive it is. If it was a solid state drive, that would take a matter of seconds, but as this is a SATA drive, it takes a little bit longer. But you can see there, it's now a healthy partition. And if we click on start computer, you can now see that drive D is now live and able to be accessed. On the next video, we'll be going through how to install a database and how to configure this server to do updates and join a domain, because we'll be doing a video on domain.
That is it, ladies and gentlemen. You've come to the end of the video on servers. I hope you enjoyed it. And you're still wondering why I'm wearing this hat. So remember, everybody needs somebody, and everybody needs BLIT. So come and visit our website, come and visit our video blogs, and come and look at our Facebook page. We're always here to help you. And if you want more information, please follow the links after this video. That's Ben from BLIT Solutions, helping people with their technology. Goodbye.